Excerpts from Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, translated by Soren Filipski. Letter 1. Paris, February 17th, 1903. Very dear Sir, your letter reached me a few days ago. I wish to thank you for your great and loving trust. I can do little more. I cannot comment on the style of your verses. Far be it from me to make any critical comment. Nothing can touch a work of art less than critical words. All that comes of that are more or less happy misunderstandings. Things are not as easy to understand and speak as we might prefer to believe. Most events are inexpressible, happening in a space where no word has ever set foot, and most inexpressible of all are works of art, mysterious existences whose life continues as hour passes away. You ask if your verses are good. You ask me. You have asked others before. You send them to magazines. You compare them with other poems, and you worry when certain editors reject your attempts. Now, since you have allowed me to advise you, I beg you to give up all of that. There is only one way. Go into yourself. Seek out the reason that commands you to write. Discover if it has stretched out its roots into the deepest part of your heart. Admit to yourself whether you would have to die if it were forbidden you to write. This above all. Ask yourself in the most silent hour of your night, must I write? Delve into yourself for a profound answer, and if this should be so, if you may meet this earnest question with a strong and simple I must, then build your life around this necessity. Your whole life, down to its most indifferent, most trivial hour, must be a sign and testimony to this impulse. Then turn towards nature, and try like a first man to say what you see and experience and love and lose. Describe your sorrows and desires, your passing thoughts and your faith in some kind of beauty. Describe it all with heartfelt, silent, humble sincerity, and use it to express yourself, the things that surround you, the images of your dreams, and the objects of your memory. If your daily life seems poor to you, do not blame that. Blame yourself. Tell yourself that you are not poet enough to call forth its riches because for the Creator, there is no poverty and no poor and unimportant place. And if from this turning inward, from this submersion into your own world come verses, then you will not think to ask anyone if they are good verses. You will not even make the attempt to interest magazines in these works, for you will see them as your cherished natural possession, a piece and a voice of your life. Take this just as it sounds, without interpretation. It may well turn out that you are called to be an artist. Then take your destiny upon yourself and carry it, its load and bulk, without ever asking about the reward that might come from the outside. For the Creator must be a world for himself, and find everything in himself and in nature to which he has joined himself. What more should I tell you? It seems to me everything has its own proper emphasis, and finally I only wanted to advise you also to grow quietly and seriously throughout your development too. You cannot disturb it more violently than if you look to the outside and from the outside expect a response to questions that only your innermost feeling at your quietest hour can possibly answer. I am returning at the same time the verses that you so kindly entrusted to me, and thank you again for the largeness and warmth of your confidence, of which I have tried, by answering honestly and to the best of my knowledge, to make myself a little more worthy than I, as a stranger, really am. With all devotion and sympathy, Rainer Maria Rilke.